Okay, I've just completed my first month with my Tesla Model 3. I have the dual motor long range battery, which has a 310 mile range at full charge. But beware, Tesla wants you to charge at no more than 80% in normal driving. So that equates to something more like the 270 mile range. One thing I found in checking out my screen here is when you swipe right, you get your distance since you last started the car, and watt hours per mile, and how many minutes you've been driving. But if you swipe up, it will give you the distance since your last charge and average watt hours per mile. And then if you swipe up again, there's your trip A, which you can reset hitting this, and trip B. And then it also gives you, on trip B at the bottom, it gives you your total mileage. So as you can see, I've driven this quite a bit in a little over the month that I've had it. The other thing that I found interesting was when you hit this screen here and hit energy, it does give you an average. You can go by 5 mile average, 15 mile average, or 30 mile average for energy used, which equates to distance that your charge will let you drive. Also, you can do an instant range. But the average I find helpful, especially at the 5 mile, because it gives you a little bit more accurate measure. Now, you can see here I've got 252 miles of range according to my battery. But yet, based on the way I've been driving, I only have 175 miles of range if I kept driving in that manner. So, as you can see from this, it was a pretty wild ride. There was a bunch of spikes, and one dip there where it went below zero, where it was actually charging the battery, and that was from either heavy deceleration or heavy braking. But if you drive it gingerly, it will give you the 252 mile range in this case that it should. You just can't get crazy with it. This says my average watt hours is 353, and based on that, I've got 174 mile range. So that would have to decrease down to below 300 in order to give me my full range. And that usually occurs through distance driving on the highway, between 60-65 miles per hour. Anything above that does tend to reduce your range. A lot of the roads that I drive on allow me to go 70 miles an hour, and so when I average 70 to 75, that range definitely drops. So keep that in mind, because if you're using most of your range in your drives, you want to make sure that you're going to have the range that you think you do when you start out your day. I do a lot of over-the-road driving every day in outside sales, and so it's not uncommon for me to need all of that 270 miles or even 310 if I'm going some distance. So just bear that in mind. The other thing is, in Pennsylvania where I live, the weather gets quite cold this time of year, and that equates to less range than what your car says you're going to get when you start out the day. I've had days where I started at 270 miles and my range, just because of the weather, dropped a full 80 miles from 270-ish to about 190 usable miles that day. So something to keep in mind. And I'll do some other videos as I discover some more things about the car, and hopefully this helps out. And if you have questions or comments, by all means, let me know. Thanks for watching. Bye.